with Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, the Mackenzie Bezos, Jeff Bezos divorce is final, and some interesting stuff, actually. It's official. Her ex-husband, Jeff Bezos, has completed the process of dissolving the marriage. He is leaving her with $35.6 billion in Amazon stock. Sounds like a lot. It is. But Mackenzie said she was happy to give up 75% of the stock in Amazon, along with voting control of her shares. She also left Jeff with all of her interests in the Washington Post and Blue Origin. Jeff Bezos, that's his aerospace company. Jeff
Blue Origin?
Yeah.
Oh.
So Jeff remains...
I thought it was a dog food company.
I thought it was a Kardashian kid.
He remains the richest man in the world, even after losing that money.
What's his name's kid? Blue
the Beyonce and Jay-Z's
Oh,
kid.
Blue. Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Right.
That's right.
Blue Ivy.
You were close.
That's close. Damn it.
And now that she's been cut a check for
Samuel
35,
Jackson's kid, right? Yeah.
now that she has that $35 billion check, she is the fourth richest woman in the world.
Yeah, but if she gets in a room with the fifth richest woman in the world and she says, "How did you get rich?" and the fifth richest woman in the world says, "I patented a dialysis pump that you can actually put inside the human body," and you go, what'd you do? "Well, my super rich old man was banging a neighbor.
Took him to the cleaners."
You have Channel 5. She's the Latina anchor. Anyway, you just gave me that.
But don't forget, the third richest woman in the world is Sam Walton's daughter. So I would assume that most of the women and most of the men who are the richest people in the world have not invented something that clever.
I would focus on Sam Walton's daughter if I were her, and a little less with the pump, the dialysis pump shit.
Linda Gates, come over here. Someone wants to meet you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Jackson's nephew wants to produce his own documentary, a rival documentary to, quote, get the truth out there. This is the 45-year-old son of Tito. He started a GoFundMe account to finance his project. So far, he's raised almost $115,000. His goal is $777,000. He tells Billboard it's up to him and the Jackson family to protect Michael's legacy because Leaving Neverland director Dan Reed never approached them to counter the sex abuse claims, which are the focus of the film. He insists, quote, "You would be doing the same thing if someone was accusing your sister or brother of something that you knew wasn't true. That's how strongly I feel. I have zero doubts about my uncle's innocence." As for his own documentary plans, he outlines it as debunking what you heard and sharing what really happened. I want to get the truth out there. You know, it was only a matter of time.
Yeah. Well,
they were not
protecting the legacy. Is, the family only makes money from Michael Jackson's music. Yeah. So that's the legacy is economics. Not one person in that family has ever made a dime on their own,
I wonder if, and I don't know how we do this, but, they'll do that. Oh, there's probably out there. Okay, so Michael Jackson dies, and then the number one album on whatever, in iTunes or whatever. It's a jazz or thriller. Everyone just goes back and revisits because, it's
in your mind.
It's at the tip of our tongue.
Yeah.
Then you go, oh, well, he does this. Now, what about his legacy? I don't know. All the Michael Jackson talk in the last month and a half, do people just go, it reminds me, I'm going to listen, I'm going to buy. I don't feel like we have a great track record of we're pretty much like, you go I want to buy a BMW, and they go, oh, well, they used Jews and slave labor in World War II, and it's like, yeah, but have you seen the interior? Yeah. And it's like, I'm getting this guy's giving me a better deal.
Well, go to Jerusalem. Every Hasidic Jew is driving a Mercedes, by the way.
Right.
So,
at the end of the day, we want a good car at a fair price, and that's a quality car. And so, we're pretty much that way. We make proclamations.
No, we compartmentalize very well with Michael Jackson.
Very well. We do it with a lot of people all the time.
Yes.
If you could not compartmentalize, you couldn't leave the fucking house, right? You just have to do that you have to do it with this country, you have to do it with other countries, you have to do it with artists, you have to do it with friends, you have to do it with everything.
How many of us have taken a hard stand at that moment in the airport? I'm never flying blank again. You fly blank again.
Right.
If they're undercutting the competition, sure.
Yeah. If the
price is the same and I get one more sack of peanuts, I'm going right back to airline.
Exactly.
That kick the wrapper off the flight or whatever after announcing
or beat that guy, beat that doctor. Remember when they dragged that was Delta or something like that? dragged the
Book flights
doctor.
that
I was
day.
for that, but yes.
Yeah, I was happy about that too. But I wound up flying Delta again. So
I don't even remember the person or the entity
United.
I made the proclamation against. You know what I mean? It's basically it's the Chick-fil-A syndrome. Like everyone's like, oh, come on, these guys, man, the way with the gay marriage and everything. Have you had Chick-fil-A?
Those nuggets are out of
What
this
is it,
world.
lunchtime?
they got a sandwich. That's really.
I mean, that's how we are, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's stop pretending. They'll be fine.
Yes.
Good
We
luck,
don't
Tito.
And by the way, hold on a second. I always say this the same way I feel about the Turks in denying a Holocaust against the Armenians. If you have to deny a Holocaust, chances are you're involved with a Holocaust. There's not a lot of countries who are, come on, admit the Holocaust. No,
no,
we did
absolutely
not.
not.
Like if you have to make a doc saying you didn't molest somebody, there's a fair chance that maybe you did. That's all.
Is that like denying collusion? Is that the same thing?
Yeah. I'm saying
Slippery slope.
have you ever seen? We see a lot of docs. You ever seen a doc about a guy who didn't molest a guy for no reason?
I'm innocent, it's called. Yeah.
Not me.
So whether it's a Holocaust or a molestation doc, if you have to go that far,
There's
a good
a
chance
reason.
you were involved with something.
Something went down.
Yeah, or maybe you just did 42% of a Holocaust.
If you spend all your
Turks.
time reminding people of what you haven't done, there's a good chance you did it.
Right. Sorry.
Oh, so Michael Jackson's streams and sales did increase by about 10% after the documentary.
Wow!
Radio airplay decreased by about 20%.
So
All right.
what?
They
People
got a
are-
bump in sales.
They're
Yeah.
purchasing the songs off of iTunes.
Boy, are we bad.
Wow.
All right.
'Cause we're bad. We're bad.
Come on. Well, Martha Stuart abruptly canceled her book signing in New York after interrupted by an anti-fur activist, according to TMZ.
Oh, man.
So we have a video.
They are
for you.
louder than the animals they protect.
That is true.
That is the only group that is actually louder. The people who speak for the children or the unborn children or whatever it is. They're loud, but the people that are unborn aren't so loud. But they're louder. Yeah.
We're going to prove that in a second. TMZ obtained the video from Martha's book signing at Macy's in New York's Herald Square Wednesday night for the book, The Martha Manual, How to Do Almost Everything. And you see this demonstrator come charging at Martha, holding up a sign about killing animals, ranting about Canada Goose and Martha having blood on their hands. By the way,
What kind of goose?
Well, Canada Goose is like an outerwear line. I don't think. I don't
it's a
think they're
down
affiliated.
Like
thing.
goose feathers?
Yeah, I don't think Martha Stewart's affiliated with them, but and no source I could find said there was any connection there. But here's the video.
A technique for this. Something drip, dry, drip.
Martha Stewart has blood on her hands. Canada Goose has blood on her hands. Martha Stewart has blood on her hands. Canada Goose has blood on their hands. Martha
But it's
Stewart
goose
has
blood, so they really need to define what kind of blood. You know what I mean?
Maybe
if it's something we eat on the holidays, then that's
Right,
not
which
a bad.
has blood in it already
Right.
that we're eating.
We can all agree that everything worth protecting had some blood in it at
Usually.
some
But
point.
Have you noticed the trend of activist groups? They've kind of taken a page from the Gallagher playbook. It seems they all have props now. It's all
Yeah.
about props.
Yep. Prop comedy.
Throwing blood, and stuff like that. Very important
Glitter
part of the.
pie,
Yeah,
those,
very important.
Maybe this is a foie gras connection. Canada
Probably.
Goose, yeah,
I'm
maybe
looking,
that.
I'm looking up Canada Goose, and it's a jacket.
Yeah,
You know.
it's a coat. It's
Yeah.
very trendy with the
Right, they
college
take the
kids.
feathers and they turn the goose into foie gras, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
You got to
happening.
do something
Yeah.
with that goose.
Yeah.
Between the goose and the Tito talk, I need a shot of vodka about now. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm an alcoholic, but all I'm thinking about is a nice Bloody Mary at this point.
And
All the-
a good Finnish film.
Yeah, there's the Finnish, the goose, and the Tito's, and I'm just thinking
Here we
about
go.
booze. Dr. Drew were here, he'd be like, "That's a problem."
Yeah, that's where you go to.
Is everyone else thinking?
I am now.
Yeah,
I'm not thinking
now.
about booze. I
Same.
want a Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
So it brings me a little bit of embarrassment and a little intrigue to report this about the University of Kansas. They're receiving some attention this week with the news of a 3-hour course offered this fall. It's called Angry White Male Studies. On its website, the
I
university
really want a shot.
The
now.
Adam Carolla Show.
provides a synopsis of the class. It says, this course charts the rise of the angry white male in America and Britain since the 1950s, exploring the deeper sources of this emotional state while evaluating recent manifestations of male anger. It's a 3-hour course. It's scheduled to meet on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons this fall. Comes with a prerequisite of Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies 101 or 102, or permission from the class instructor having gone to that school, I imagine this class will be packed.
All right. Listen, Gina, I don't know if you're going to be a fan of this idea, but look, I'm even-handed. I have a blue-collar version of this. I've said that we do that thing where we put that sign up in front of the Coliseum and we go free cockfight for Raiders fans, and everyone who enters is arrested. We just throw net over them, and we just arrest them. These people will have to leave the country. We make up this class. Everyone who shows up with a peachy folder, we just go right onto a bus, and we just drop them off in Mexico, and we go, okay, bitches, have fun there. See how it goes. Go ahead. Go protest over there. See how it works out for you over there. We'll take a couple of them, drop off of Canada, but you're out. You're out.
Yeah, I get it.
So the cockfight crew's going to prison, and these guys are leaving the country. We don't need you.
It's fair.
Listen, you hate this country. You're out.
This may be the new show for you, by the way. Maybe instead of To Catch a Contractor, you do something like this.
To catch a college student.
These big scale kind of events. I think that'd be great.
Free bean curd for victims, and then anyone who shows up, I just throw a net on them.
Bribe, we used to bribe in the cage fight in Bruno, for instance. We had to get crowds. We had to actually stage these events, and so you would offer $5 beer or $1 beer, and you would have overflowing crowds within minutes. So there's ways to draw people into those kind of things.
He knows.
I'll write that down.
Yes, it works.
Yeah.
You know what never gets enough love when we talk about Simply Safe? The pleasantness of the voice that comes out of that box.
Yes.
You are home. It is secure.
Being robbed.
I love it. You may want to consider calling the police. She really is very pleasant. So Britney Spears put her career on hold last year to take care of her very ill father. Now she's putting her career on hold to take care of her mental health. TMZ reports that Britney checked into a rehab facility last week for treatment of emotional troubles, something she alluded to in a social media post. She said, fall in love with taking care of yourself, mind, body, spirit. We all need to take a little time for a little me time. An insider says Britney's stint in the facility will last at least 30 days.
What's going on? And it's an interesting thing. When you turn on the news, it's always talk about socioeconomic and have-nots and everything. It's pretty clear that everyone is miserable, and rich people are just miserable with more stuff. Right. And I feel like guys are killing themselves in their 50s, and everyone's just like weird and troubled and going into rehab and freaking out and having to find some spiritual path or someone to follow. Like everyone's grasping for something. And I don't know, maybe this whole we need to make money or get rich or all that, maybe it turns out those people aren't that happy.
Well, yeah, because people think, they're miserable. It's like, I just had some money. If I had some money, my problems would go away. My life would be better. Imagine the hell that is, now I have a ton of money. My problems are still here. I'm worse than ever. Nothing's better.
Yeah, you guys will never know that pain. But coming from where I come from.
Larry, is that true?
I think humanity might just be collapsing, really. I think that might be what's going on, really.
Folding in on itself.
I think so. I really see that.
I was talking to Dr. Drew about this, but hearing about guys committing suicide in their 50s, couples getting divorced in their 60s and stuff like that. Things you formerly never heard of growing up. If a guy committed suicide, he was doing it over Becky Sue, and he was in high school, and he was, his car hit the train tracks with the thing, but it's not a guy in his 50s. People are going nuts way later in life.
I think the country's had a psychotic break. I really do. And I think Trump is symptomatic of that. He's not the cause of it, but I think it's kind of symptomatic. We've lost touch with reality to a large degree.
Yeah, he's kind of become the piñata,
right?
Where everyone's going, we're going nuts. Get him, go get him. But we're all still going nuts.
Which I'd be okay with that too. But I do think he is just a symptom of this kind of larger issue.
How many Trump piñatas do you think are at sale right now?
Wow, that's a great idea. If they don't exist,
there's got to be thousands.
There's got to be a lot of them.
You have to go across the border, which is what makes it complicated.
Right.
Yeah,
good old Vera.
Yeah, much better seller than the Don Lemon ones. Didn't move at all. Some people even took offense.
Putting on a rope is bad news.
Rachel Maddow's going to be a big seller, though, I think, this Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's do one more.
All right. Well, If you're energetic and confident, you enjoy cooking, you believe in love at first sight, the research conducted by one poll shows you're probably an early bird. Fox News reports that a look into our sleeping habits revealed that early birds have more sex than night owls. They are less shy. And meanwhile, according to the study, early birds were found to earn more money and more likely to work in an office. 10% were more likely to identify as happy.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Like if I could wish to bestow one thing upon my kids, it'd be like go to bed early and just get up
and go.
Just get up and not spend an entire life wrestling with an alarm clock. Like my kids, my wife, everyone's out of town. Phil was sleeping on top of me, and I went to bed about 12:30, 12:45. I wish I could go to bed at 10, but I just go to bed at 12:30, 12. And at about 7:40, Phil started smacking me with this 10-gallon paw. Like, let's go. And he takes his paw and he uses it like as a ram. Like he's just like a bataka bat. Like he whacks you and he's like, what? And I go, what? And he just keeps whacking you on the head with his big paw. And it's like, okay. And we get up, we go downstairs, he goes outside, he takes a squirt in the backyard. I actually take a squirt simultaneously, which was a bonding experience.
Also in the backyard.
And then he's like, I'd like some kibble to go with that urine. I'm like, all right, I'll give you a couple of scoops of kibble. I give him his kibble, and now it's that weird thing where it's like, do I go back upstairs and sleep for another hour? Am I that weak? And then I start going over my day. Like, oh, I'm doing a set tonight at the Ice House. That's I got a couple podcasts. I'm going to get tired. If I could take a nap. And
make you more tired.
I was just wrestling with myself, and I was like, oh, screw it. I'm going back. I'm going to sleep for another 45 minutes. And I did. But the fact is that if I'd gone to bed at 10, then I just would have got up at 6:15 and drank my coffee with two hands.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like watching the world wake up while I enjoy. I sit out on my veranda and it's with two hands and my coffee. And just
Don't you feel also there's a stigma about naps? I mean, it's like,
we talk about that. Sure.
It seems like you're a lazy person if you need a nap.
Yeah.
And so you have to kind of find it somewhere else.
Goddamn it. I shared a goddamn office with Danny Two Sheets Kellison and Jimmy Kimmel. And napping is one of those things where it's like you're either down with it, and if you're down with it, you need it, or you're not. And if you're not, you don't understand it. Yep. And I'd be working the goddamn Love Line until midnight every night, and we'd show up at the Man Show, and we'd have lunch brought to the set or whatever it is, and like 1 o'clock, I'd be back at my desk at like 2 writing fart jokes, and I'd go, I'm going to go down to my dressing room and just lay down for like 20 minutes. And they'd be like, where are you going, buddy? And I'd be like, I'm going to lay down. We're going to be working. Daniel would watch. He'd watch the Red Sox game on his computer while Jimmy wrote jokes, but he'd still be, where are you going to sleep for? And I'd be like, because I'm exhausted. 20 minutes. I close my eyes. Oh, I don't know why I have to do that. And it's like weird. And then I always kind of felt bad, and then I'd make excuses.
Yeah,
like,
you get judged.
I didn't want to be judged.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to go to my dressing room and beat off twice.
Yeah,
so I'll
if
be
you
back.
say that, it's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
Or I'm meditating. That's another one I've heard used as well.
Yeah, but I like to nap. And I nap for like 20 minutes, and it makes me better. And I work real hard. I don't know why. And now science has sort of caught up to napping, and they understand it's good. But I don't know. I'm not driving a car with kids in it or anything. I just want to go to my goddamn dressing room, lay down on a sofa.
And you
want to
be awake when you're doing the other stuff, you know.
Yes, there'll be a better version of me at 5 this afternoon rather than the irritable, out of it version of me.
Rest.
Yes. Good. All the greats, Larry, right? We nap.
You have to find. Well, I don't sleep, so napping becomes I'm a really bad sleeper. I'm just learning now. I'm just learning now how to actually try to sleep.
What? All right. So this is interesting. I'd like to get into this with my kids at some point too. I have hypervigilance, and I never knew it. So I'd lay on my bed, and it's just like, what's going on around me all the time? Like, what's going on? I mean, like, you could, when I was young, you could walk into my room at 4 a.m. and go, Adam, and I'd go, yes. Like, I was never fell asleep in front of a TV set, never fell asleep on a plane ride, and everything. But I started realizing you got to get an eye shade, you got to get earplugs, you got to get the cool mattress thing with the water pumping through it.
A heavy blanket now is a thing.
Yeah, the weighted Phil could lay on you while you nap. I mean, You got to,
Noise
if you
machine.
have that vigilance,
Yes.
that thing, that comedians, it's your job to notice
Yes,
stuff.
it's also a father thing too. I think when you have young kids, I know once I started having children, I had little children in the house. My sleep got much lighter. Like I was on that comedian schedule for years, late at night, going to sleep late at night, sleeping into the afternoon. But once you become a parent,
You're 100% right.
that's it, man. You can't sleep late and you can't get too drunk and you have to be sort of listening for all the weird people that are going to climb into your house and steal your children.
Yeah.
So you sort of develop that paranoia also.
I was thinking about vodka, so I don't know what you said. But I think I agree in tonally.
Yes, that's all I'm asking for.
Okay. Let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. Who didn't love a minstrel show?
That was the news with Gina Grad.